Now at 5, 53 counts, and a jury finds Mark Ray Leonard guilty on all counts in the deadly Richmond Hill explosion. Live team coverage from South Bend and the Richmond Hill neighborhood. Storm cleanup, thousands still without power after a second round of powerful winds, rain, thunder, and lightning. We're tracking the threat of more tonight. Paper Towns. Indianapolis rolls out the red carpet for a Hollywood-style movie event. Cast members right here. We've got your front row ticket to the stars.
Now, breaking news from RTV6.
By the conviction today of Mark Leonard and the guilty plea of Monserrate Shirley, we have completed two significant steps in achieving justice that we pledged for the residents of Richmond Hill.
Prosecutor Terry Curry after a swift verdict in the trial of the mastermind of the deadly Richmond Hill explosion. Mark Ray Leonard guilty on all 53 counts, including murder and arson.
Now that breaking news, the jury needing just over 3 hours for over 2 days to find Mark Leonard guilty of killing Jennifer and Dion Longworth. The decision announced shortly after 1 o'clock this afternoon. You watched it live right here on RTV6 and the RTV6 app. We have live team coverage for you. Rafael Sanchez and Derek Thomas in South Bend and Chris Prophet in the Richmond Hill neighborhood. We begin tonight with Rafael, who has covered this story from the night Richmond Hill was in flames. Rafael?
And that was an unforgettable night, and today an unforgettable day. Relief is the word from the victims' families and the homeowners in Richmond Hill after that jury convicted Mark Ray Leonard on all 53 criminal counts. No one expected that this verdict would come so soon, so fast against Leonard. But the jury sending a clear message that they believed that Mark Ray Leonard murdered Dion and Jennifer Longworth and was responsible for the $4 million in damage to the homes there on the city's south side in the Richmond Hill subdivision. The jury finding him guilty on all 53 counts. People say the verdict brings them peace of mind.
It was just a horrible night, and I think everyone is stronger now that we've gotten to the other side, and we'll be fine. It's just, I'll never forget it.
A lot of people will never forget that day, November the 10th, 2012, at 11:11 p.m. The jury did not speak to the media today, but their actions spoke volumes in the courtroom. Let me show you what we were able to see today. The jury was being escorted out of the building. In fact, they were walked out through a passageway in the basement area where the courtroom is. They were escorted by sheriff's deputies. They did not speak to the media at all as they left the courthouse today. 16 people who served their community for 5 weeks here in South Bend. Also, just a few moments ago, I got the actual count. The jury went into deliberations at 9:43. They were done by 12:30. You add today's deliberations with yesterday's, and the time spent on this case was just slightly longer than this year's running of the Indianapolis 500. On this case, the jury spent 3.4 hours. The Indy 500 was over in about 3 hours. We're live in South Bend. Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
All right, we'll look for you later in this newscast. Thank you, Rafael.
It took some time for the judge to read all those verdicts, but it took little time for the family of the victims to react. RTV6's Derek Thomas spoke with the fathers of Jennifer and Dion Longworth, and he joins us live with more on that story. Derek.
Don Buxton told me that when he heard the guilty verdicts, he thought to himself, this one's for Jenny. This 34-year-old Dion Longworth and his 36-year-old wife Jennifer were in the courtroom in spirit. Jennifer's father reacted when the verdict was read.
When I heard the first 2 counts and the judge read guilty, I thought, okay, I'm satisfied, whatever else happens. I think our children have received some justice. I'm not sure how you define that anymore in today's world, but whatever it is, they've received it, and that's all we can get.
For Dion's father, it's too early to find peace and much too early for forgiveness. He knows Mark Leonard will be put away for a long time, but he is not prepared to celebrate.
I'm sad. It's sentencing somebody to prison or anything is not anything to be happy about to me. Especially when what I would really like is to give Dion and Jennifer hugs, and that's not going to happen. So
Don Buxton told me that he's going to go home, hug his wife, his 2 kids, and his grandkids. And he says they're not going to have a party, but they're going to shed maybe a tear or 2. Live in South Bend, Derek Thomas, RTV6.
2 people dead. More than 120 houses were damaged the night of the Richmond Hill explosion. Today's guilty verdicts come as a relief after so many months have gone by. RTV6's Chris Prophet is live in the Richmond Hill subdivision with reaction to today's events. Chris.
And Erica, it is a relief for all of the people who live in here. Remember that there were dozens of people injured and there were a lot of homes that were damaged. Some people just simply left. This is the house that exploded behind me, and Glenn Olvey lived right next door. He was home along with his now ex-wife and daughter. They no longer live here, and the house they called home for 7 years is gone. When he learned that his former neighbor Mark Leonard was found guilty on all 53 counts, he said that he had to come back to his former neighborhood.
I had to be here. I had to come back to where I was home for 6-7 years. And when the verdict came in, it was just a flashback of that night.
And we talked to other neighbors today who say that these guilty verdicts are helping to really start the healing process for a lot of people in the Richmond Hill subdivision, and they know that the legal process is not over. Reporting live on the South Side, Chris Prophet, RTV6.
Let's look back now at some important dates that brought us to today. The explosion happened in the late night hours of November 10th, 2012. Just over a month later, Mark Leonard, his brother Bob, and Monserrate Shirley were arrested and charged. In January 2014, a 4th suspect, Gary Thompson, was arrested. A 5th suspect, Glenn Holtz, was arrested in April of that year. In January of this year, Monserrate Shirley enters a guilty plea and agrees to testify against her former boyfriend. Opening statements began on June 8th, and today the jury found Mark Ray Leonard guilty of all 53 counts. And coming up at 5:30, former Marion County Prosecutor Carl Brizzi joins me to talk about the speed of the verdict and what may have happened in the jury room.
A lot more ahead, but our other big story, the weather on this Storm Team 6 action day. Flooding, trees down, thousands without power, and we might not be done yet. There is the threat of more rain this evening. Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is here to let us know when the threat moves in. Kevin.
I'll take you to the latest downpours here in just 1 second. You can see how the nature of the sky has changed from the standpoint we had all that sunshine earlier. Then you see the fair weather cumulus build, and now into a couple of thunderstorms. Thunderstorm watch has been canceled for southeast Indiana, no longer in effect. That doesn't mean there isn't the isolated severe storm threat. Here's some rain cutting through Zionsville, umbrella up. That will move toward northern portions of Marion County. We've already had some showers around Eagle Creek. To the east we go, Greenfield to Knightstown. Notice how quickly these are moving. It will be enough to stop what you're doing outside, but then you can get right back out there because it won't last very long. Just show you the big picture. The better chance for any stronger storms will be south and southeastern portions of the state. And you see the nature of these starting to pop up more and more as we go through the early evening hours. Chance for any severe storms, again, Bloomington over to Greensburg toward the Ohio River. Damaging wind and large hail would be the main threats. I have a shocking forecast for several reasons, but the main, dry, but for how many days? That's coming up.
All right, Kevin, we like that. New information about that storm last night. The Weather Service now confirming it produced 2 tornadoes, and we have photos of one of them. The National Weather Service said a brief EF0 tornado touched down last night 18 miles west of Lafayette. It had speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. It touched down briefly in a cornfield. And the National Weather Service just confirmed a second tornado in Putnam County near Greencastle, an EF1 with winds up to 90 miles an hour that Kevin told us about a little bit ago.
Tens of thousands of Hoosiers still without power tonight. Crews have been working around the clock nonstop to restore power to those homes. But IPL said today it still may take until the end of the week to complete repairs. Take a look at these numbers now. Right now, there are more than 28,000 Indianapolis Power and Light customers without power. That's down by less than 1,000 customers since noon today. Also, Duke Energy is reporting more than 9,000 outages tonight. RTV6's Ebony Monet is live on the city's west side, one of the hardest hit areas. Ebony?
Erica, people in this neighborhood are having a very tough time. They tell me their power went out yesterday morning right around 11:40, and they're doing everything they can to stay cool. Take a look at this tent here behind me. The family says that they pitched this tent because it's just too hot inside. And in addition to the heat and humidity, several people on this block actually have medical concerns, and so it's a big problem here, and they're doing everything they can to stay cool. In fact, one woman told me that every few minutes she's dousing towels with cold water and putting it on her body, trying to keep her body heat down. The same woman also showed us her refrigerator where she's had to throw out a lot of her food that was spoiling, and on top of that, she and her roommate have medical issues.
I can't take the heat, and if I get too hot, I pass out. So I've been doing everything I can to try to stay cool. I get wet rags and everything and put around my neck and towels and everything, trying to keep cool.
While everyone on the west side of the street is without power, folks on the east side, they still have power. As you can see here, the woman across the street, she's sharing power with her mother, who's across the street, who she's very concerned about at this time because she suffered from 2 strokes, and she says she has reason to be concerned. Another one of her elderly neighbors was raced to the ER last night, and still, even with 300 workers, more than 300 workers working to restore power, including mutual aid from as far away as Nashville, Tennessee, IPL estimates some people can be without power until the end of the week, and that's not the information that people here wanted to hear. Reporting live on the west side, Ebony Monet, RTV6.
That is certainly not good news for a lot of them, Ebony. Thank you. A developing story tonight, a 37-year-old Brown County man swept away in floodwaters overnight was found dead just a short while ago. Travis Watkins was swept away around midnight. His body found just this afternoon. RTV6 reporter Mike Pelton is in Brown County with the new details.
37-year-old Travis Watkins was found dead about 90 minutes ago. This is near Hoover Road and State Road 46. His body was found about 3/4 of a mile away from where he lived. Now, family members tell us Travis Watkins went to check on his grandmother around midnight as nearby Gnawbone Creek was overflowing. The small bridge was damaged, so he tried to cross over when the water became too much to handle. Today, the DNR, Brown County Sheriff's Department, and Nashville Fire and Police waded through the knee-deep water trying to find him. They did this afternoon. And earlier, we spoke to his sister, who says he is a great guy.
He's amazing. He's gorgeous. He's lovable. He's got a huge heart.
The best thing we can do is give that closure to the family. You know, we're out here doing our job and doing what we do, but it's in the end, it's all about giving that family closure. We want to find that loved one so that they can start the healing process.
And the DNR says the investigation is ongoing as the coroner will determine the specific cause of death. Now, they say if you encounter a similar situation, do not cross over rushing water. Instead, call law enforcement, who should be able to help. In Brown County tonight, Mike Pelton, RTV6.
Also in Brown County, homes and businesses have been wiped out in the wake of that overnight heavy rain. RTV6's Jason Fechner went to Nashville, where some families tonight are reliving a nightmare.
For many here in Brown County, they didn't wake up to the sound of their alarms Tuesday morning, but rather phone calls from friends and family members desperately pleading for help. A heartbreaking sight along Highway 46 in and around Nashville, Indiana Tuesday. Homes here destroyed, businesses flooded. In one case, the water flooded over Salt Creek Road, essentially stranding those who live just to the north of here. After a similar flood hit here back in 2008, some are reliving that pain with no idea what's next.
You know, it's rough. You know, it's what my mom and dad they lived for. It's what their job was, and now it's just Mother Nature. You know you can't say nothing about it. But it's crazy.
A small silver lining to all this, the water has begun to recede Tuesday afternoon, down now a couple of feet, but as you can see, the damage here is already done. In Brown County, Jason Fechner, RTV6.
Floodwaters are causing problems for drivers along with home and business owners, especially south of Indianapolis. RTV6's Julie Persley traveled to Johnson, Bartholomew, and Jackson counties to show us the widespread flooding there.
Floodwaters were such a problem earlier, Indiana State Police had to issue a travel advisory along Interstate 65 in southern Indiana. We went up in Skycam 6 to give you a better look at the widespread damage. Daylight Daylight revealed what the pounding storms and torrential downpours overnight left behind. There were several areas in Johnson County and to the south that are waterlogged in Indiana. In Franklin, the Legends look more like lakefront property than a golf course. Several of the greens turned into islands, and you could hardly see some of the fairways. In Bartholomew County, homeowners are struggling. This neighborhood just east of I-65 and north of US 31 has water running through it. Homes are surrounded, streets are covered, and cars and trucks are stuck in driveways. One person found it was easier to get around this morning by kayak. Drivers like this one near County Road 800 North and 100 West who tried to cross the high water found themselves stranded. In Jackson County, floodwaters even caused problems on I-65. At one point, water was rushing over the interstate just south of the Seymour exit. Traffic was backed up for miles. People who tried to take an alternate route on US 31 ran into the same problems. It too was waterlogged. Indiana State Police have since lifted that travel advisory in Jackson County. But first responders are reminding you, if you approach a flooded roadway, turn around, don't drown. Julie Pursley, RTV6.
And if you've been affected by this week's storms and power outages and you need some help, the Red Cross is inviting you to come to one of their emergency shelters. You're invited to come for snacks, meals, or even an overnight stay at their Indianapolis headquarters on East 10th Street. You're also welcome to charge any electronics or medical devices there. Other shelters located around the state are in Jay, Brown, Wells, and Jefferson counties.
Some positive news to bring you tonight on where the city's violent crime rate is trending, and it is down. Numbers released today by the Department of Public Safety tell us that the number of non-fatal shootings this year has declined. So far this year, Indianapolis has recorded 255 shootings compared to 267 non-fatal shootings for the same period last year. And the numbers are even more encouraging on the homicide rate. We've had 58 murders this year compared to 74 murders for the same time period last year.
We have to really look at these systemic issues that's leading to crime. When you look at the mental health issues, the poverty issues, those individuals in hunger, we're dealing with all those issues as well because we're equally committed to long-term success.
And the public safety director also says that violent crime in the 6 focus areas has declined slightly. Those 6 focus areas have been identified as the city's highest crime neighborhoods. Also from police headquarters tonight, the spirited debate over tattoos.
For now, the department and the Fraternal Order of Police both agree that showing off one's tattoo probably isn't a good idea. At the heart of the debate is how they're kept hidden. RTV6's Jack Reinhardt joins us live from our studio on Monument Circle with details on this. Jack?
Well, Todd, police departments all across the country and every branch of the military is having to deal with the issue of tattoos, and it's very much a topic of discussion within the IMPD, where appearance and professionalism matter. At Big Time Tattoos and Piercings, business is booming. No longer just a fad, the tattoo has become socially acceptable, a way to express one's identity through body art. But many of Bill Bryant Dixon's customers know they can only express themselves so far, particularly when it comes to the workplace.
It's kind of up to us as an artist to strategically place it or kind of give them the advice ahead of time that it may affect what they do for a living.
Increasingly, men and women joining the police department have tattoos, so many that it's become an issue within the rank and file, particularly those required by department policy to cover them up with long-sleeve shirts. Add to that body armor and the heat and humidity of summer. Covering tattoos becomes problematic.
Frankly, we're going to be seeing it this weekend during the summer celebration, where our officers are out standing on pavement for many hours in a row. Now they're adding to that these long sleeve shirts with the body armor and that higher core temperature. It becomes a safety factor, a safety concern at least.
The department is looking at adopting what's called the tattoo sleeve, a lightweight, breathable fabric that comes in multiple colors and skin tones. It could afford the brass and the rank and file a compromise without sacrificing professionalism and command presence.
A lot of times people think of the use of force as just necessarily a taser or a handgun or a baton, but actually your first line of use of force is actually officer appearance. So when you step up to that scene or when you arrive at that scene, how professional you look can bring down or de-escalate a situation.
Now, it's very possible, even likely, that the chief's office and the Fraternal Order of Police could reach a compromise solution as early as next week. And both sides definitely want a solution, one that would give officers the comfort they need and the coverage that the police department demands. Reporting live downtown, Jack Reinhardt, RTV6.
And thank you, Jack. At home, you don't need to move. Just stay right there and watch. These clouds will come right at you. I love tower cam views like this when the clouds are moving basically from west to east, or in this case, northwest to southeast. And we see some showers building at times as well. These are spotty. They'll be for the next few hours and then out of here, and we'll get at least a 2-day break from any downpours. That's the good news. Not out of the woods as far as any severe weather threat. There's a slight risk. Bloomington on over to Columbus and Greensburg southeast. And of course, just drawing a line like that is our imaginary line. Where the atmosphere draws the line might be a different story, but strong winds and large hail, the main threats, and I think that will be very isolated. We've had some showers move through Marion County. One just zips through Zionsville. See how quickly they're moving? But it leapfrogs and then builds the next. It just went through Beech Grove and now headed toward Fairland along I-74. We just follow these streaking areas of showers, not really able to sustain themselves much, but it changes a bit as you get to the warmer, more humid environment. Just near Spencer down to Beech Creek and Bloomington, this will drift south and east, come close to Lake Monroe. Other showers of more strength, heavy downpours certainly headed toward Seymour. Between Owen and Seymour will cross I-65. There's the broader view. The temperatures are in the low 90s once you get close to the Ohio River, and the humidity is high for all of us. Temporarily. Next 24 hours, we'll see a difference. Any spotty, isolated showers this evening will fade away. By the time we get to 11 o'clock tonight, we'll be in the clear, so to speak. Next 12 hours, the storm threat is here for the next few hours. Dry for the morning drive, and we'll have a nice northwest breeze. We have that already. Northwest at almost 20. 86 current temperature. Sunsets at 9:13. Look at the warmth. 92 in Louisville, 93 that in Evansville, while it's 72 with the wind coming off of the lake in Gary. For us, the absence of color over Indiana means we're not expecting storms. No severe risk during the day tomorrow as we get a little drier air mass and enjoy a couple of dry days in central Indiana. Here's 7-day planner, and plan on 2 dry days coming up Wednesday and Thursday. Lower humidity, but the more comfortable it feels the next 48 hours, the more uncomfortable it will feel as you get toward the weekend. Right around 90, it's going to feel more like New Orleans than Indianapolis. A real tropical feel as the humidity level goes way up here. Yeah, way up there.
But it'll be a party if it's like New Orleans. There you go. Thank you, Kevin. A ride that left nearly a dozen people in midair.
And now the Indianapolis Zoo says it's uncovered why the Skyline stopped in mid-ride. That answer and when it might reopen after the break. The Indianapolis Zoo's Skyline is almost back in business.
Yeah, zoo representatives say the ride that left nearly a dozen passengers stopped in midair last month could reopen within the month. Since that rescue, the ride has undergone several evaluations by engineers in Wisconsin and Switzerland. Their investigation reveals that an oversensitive breaker in the motor tripped, causing the ride to stop.
Safety is our primary concern in everything we do. So we will test and continue to test. Our operations staff and our facility staff goes through extensive training on a continual basis to make sure that everything is 100% safe as far as we can before we will reopen this ride.
Zoo representatives tell us the issue's been repaired, and they're also working to install 2-way radios in each of the ride's gondolas, allowing guests to communicate with operators.
Sure, we're anchors, we're reporters and storytellers, but we're more than just our jobs. We are out on the streets and at the track, at the State House and in the studio, in your neighborhoods and communities. Wherever your stories are, that's where we'll be. This is Indiana. It's our state and it's our home. That's why it's not all about the news. It's all about you. RTV6, the Indy Channel.
The Now Indy really has a different feel.
We get you information quickly.
What's happening now and then the next few hours. It's a conversation.
We really can't do this without you.
Send us a tweet, post something on Facebook, and we'll talk to you.
We really want you to be a part of the conversation.
Join us at 4 on the Now Indy.
The case involving the Southside explosion is being heard now in South Bend.
The jury, of course, was finally selected today, and minutes ago the lawyers laid out their plans for them. Call 6 investigator and now Indy co-host Rafael Sanchez has been following the case since 2012. He joins us live from South Bend with the latest there. Rafael.
Now let me take you inside the courtroom. As we now roll some video, you can see that Mark Ray Leonard is the man accused of being the ringleader in this case, accused of 52 criminal charges, including murder and arson. Today, the parents of Dion and Jennifer Longworth were in the courtroom. They were sitting in rows 2 and 3 of the courthouse as they began to listen to the opening arguments.
Now, breaking news from RTV6.
And we continue to follow that breaking news at noon. The police raid on the home of Subway pitchman Jared Fogle. State and federal authorities swarming his Zionsville home this morning, and the case may be connected to child pornography. We are taking a live look from the scene of a serious crash involving a tour bus.
This is happening on the city's south side right now on I-65 near the Greenwood exit. So if you're heading out this morning and you take I-65 north, you're going to have to find a different route.
Following breaking news out of Westfield tonight, where multiple people are believed hurt in a stage collapse at Westfield Washington High School. The stage collapsing. The auditorium was packed tonight. A sold-out audience for a performance of American Pie, and you just saw the stage simply buckled.
Saturday night, after most of us had gone to bed, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory was going to work. Kevin was live on RTV6 through the night, tracking severe weather, keeping Hoosiers safe, aware, alert, action. That's Storm Team 6.
Weather affects everything I do. We look at the forecast every night.
Storm Team 6 breaks down your forecast hour by hour. We're always keeping track of your next 12 hours.
Daily weather and rain makes all the difference in the world, whether you cut, whether you don't cut, whether you harvest or don't harvest.
John, if you have the information you need to do your job, then I know I've done my job.
I'm John Leonard, and I trust Kevin Gregory for my weather. It means everything to us.
New at 7 from our Call 6 investigators. Do you think you could spot a repaired wreck on a car lot? Well, it's actually a lot harder than you think. Call 6 investigator Kara Kinney with more on the mistake people are making and not realizing until it's too late.
This investigation started with a consumer calling our Call 6 tip line saying he bought a car and later learned it had been totaled, which typically means the insurance company deemed it not financially worth it to fix. Tonight we're telling you what you need to do before you buy a car. Stefan Macon bought this 2010 Dodge Charger from Circle City Auto Exchange. He says within 2 months he noticed his tires repeatedly going bald.
It's just been an ongoing battle with replacing the tires. So I took it to Northwest Frame and Body, and it took him just 30 minutes to determine that the car, before I purchased the car, had sustained an accident.
We checked with Carfax and found the car was totaled just 3 months before he bought it. The frame shop told us Stefan's car has significant frame damage, which is causing his tire troubles.
I was very surprised.
Darnell Prim says something similar happened to him. He bought a 2008 Chevy Malibu from Circle City.
Took it home, day number 2, started driving it, steering wheel started shaking real bad.
It wasn't until Darnell eventually tried to trade in the car that he learned it was totaled just months before he bought it. Darnell says the dealership told him about a missing airbag, but did not disclose the car's full crash history.
Nothing in the fine print, nothing in the contract.
Both Darnell and Stefan acknowledge they bought their cars as is, which means the consumers legally accepted responsibility for repairs. Dealerships don't have to disclose prior wrecks if the car has a clear title, according to the state.
If an insurance company deems a vehicle a total loss, it receives a salvage title from us.
In Indiana?
In Indiana.
But in Michigan, a car deemed a total loss can get a clear title. It's perfectly legal in that state. Stefan and Darnell's cars both came from Michigan with clear titles, despite being totaled by the insurance companies. We checked crash histories on Circle City's cars and found one we knew had been wrecked before. We took our hidden camera to their Washington Street lot to ask about it.
I'm just curious, like, if it's been in an accident.
Which one?
The 2011 Charger.
A worker gets on the phone.
When he ran the auto check, it didn't show that it had been an accident.
We asked
asked AutoCheck to run the VIN number, and they came back with 2 crashes, one in 2012, one in 2013, both involving moderate to severe damage. The Attorney General's office says if a dealer misrepresents a product to you, that could violate the Indiana Deceptive Consumer Sales Act. So we went back to the lot to get an explanation.
I'm a manager, but can we ask you about some video that we got?
We showed him the video. But the manager had no explanation.
The record showed it's been in 2 moderate to severe damage. We're just trying to get your response. What's your name, sir?
It doesn't matter. Minutes later, he pointed his cell phone at us while we got video off the property. The Indiana Secretary of State's office suspended Circle City's Madison Avenue location in February for issues including failing to properly deliver titles and failing to provide records. They're still on probation. As for Stefan and Darnell, Circle City's attorney released a statement saying both customers had a full and complete opportunity to have the vehicle inspected before purchasing it, and the transactions were fair, conducted at arm's length, and fall within the purview of Indiana law. Stefan and Darnell say they didn't deserve what they got. Darnell says he let the bank take the car back. Stefan is still driving his, only because he doesn't have the money to fix it.
So I believe that there should be laws in place to protect consumers who purchase vehicles with this kind of damage.
Circle City's attorney says the worker we asked about the crash history misunderstood our question. The Attorney General's office has received 43 complaints about Circle City in the last 2 years, mostly about salvage disclosures or defective products. The agency closed Stefan and Darnell's complaints, finding Circle City did not violate any laws. So how do you protect yourself if you're buying a used car? Take the car for a test drive. Ask the dealership to see the title. Once you work out a deal, do not rely on verbal promises. Get it in writing and read everything before you sign it. Get the VIN number and check the car's history before you buy it. But no, that will only show reported crashes. Also, tell the dealer you want to take the car to a mechanic or a frame expert before you purchase the car. And we have more tips for you on our website, theindychannel.com.
Call 6 Investigates. The next time you go car shopping, buyer beware. That used car lot could actually be an illegal operation.
Yeah, it's difficult to crack down on these pop-up businesses because from the road, they really look like the real deal. Rafael Sanchez joins us live as Call 6 Investigates digs into the lot that shut down after we started asking some questions. Rafael.
Todd and Erica, good evening. We learned about these used cars after getting a tip about something happening on the corner, and someone asked us to check it out, and we did. And when we did that, the seller was telling us that most of the vehicles on the lot, that they were in good condition. Now, of course, our cameras were rolling, our hidden cameras were on the job. But you know what happened, Todd and Erica? When we went from just being the regular old customer, stories changed when that person found out that we were Call 6 Investigates. By all signs, there was no reason to doubt. This was a used car lot.
I was driving by and I swung around. I saw the car for sale.
The price caught your attention?
Yep.
You were hoping to get a deal?
Yes.
For several weeks, Call 6 Investigates watched several people selling cars here at 38th and High School Road. We found lots of vehicles, all makes and models. Jesus Lavalle showed us around.
It's nice. It's nice. It's low mileage.
There wasn't always someone on the lot. We had to call one of the many phone numbers on display to get information.
Engine? Can we see the engine?
Oh, yeah.
On this day, the prices ranged from $900 to just $4,000.
It's like new.
It's like new?
Yeah, like new.
But when we turned the tables on him, do you have a license to sell cars? Do you have a license? Is this a car dealership?
Oh, no.
Jesus claimed he was getting a license. We questioned the conditions of the vehicles for sale. Engine problems, transmission problems, brake problems? A little bit? Yeah. In cooperation with Carfax.com, we checked all the vehicle identification numbers. Carfax verified several safety concerns. The Grand Prix and Ford Explorer are in need of critical recalled replacement parts.
Yeah, the Honda?
Yeah, can I see that one?
And remember that like-new Honda Accord?
Oh, it's new. It's like new.
It was previously totaled in an accident. It was issued a salvage title, making it undrivable. It was later repaired and made roadworthy with a rebuilt title. This kind of operation is known as curbstoning. That's when people sell vehicles along the curb of any open space.
Curbstoners will sometimes buy cars for cheap that may have been wrecked or otherwise damaged, clean them up a little bit, and then a consumer buys it for more than the car's really worth.
The state's Auto Dealer Services says these businesses try to stay under the radar by selling less than 12 vehicles a year. 12 or more sales requires a license. Jesus told us he's only sold one minivan this year. He added that he and his partner are seeking a dealer's license. Call 6 checked and found no records of any applications with their names being processed. Is this a good business?
No much. Get out and quit.
He didn't think so. So here are the things you have to keep in mind when you're dealing with curbstoners. There are a couple of things you may want to keep in mind. The number one thing, check this out. You may not get your title, which means after you've paid possibly in cash, that car may not belong to you. The other big issue is one of accountability. Who will you go to when that car breaks down? Most of these curbstoners are nomadic. And one more thing to consider, if you'll join me right to the back seat of this vehicle, of course, is the audit. Unlike licensed dealers, these nomadic operations, these curbstoners, they cannot be audited by state regulators, which means if you file a complaint, there is no way for state regulators to come back to that operation and hold someone accountable to possibly fix your car or even maybe give you your money back. Todd and Erica?
So, Ruff, what is the status of that lot, and what about the owner you were talking to?
Well, the state is now looking into that operation, and of course the lot for now has shut down, but possibly could now be operating, as you will tell viewers here in a second. They could be operating either on social media, either Facebook or Craigslist. Todd?
Judge Graves, I'm Kara with Channel 6. We want to talk to you about charging people for weddings.
Tonight, a Call 6 hidden camera investigation exposes a Marion County judge breaking the very rules he helped create.
Our Kara Kinney is now holding that judge accountable and even getting newlyweds their money back. She joins us now with the full investigation. Kara.
That's right, Todd. We exposed Center Township Small Claims Court Judge Michelle Scott using government resources to promote the private wedding business she ran with her husband. Well, she resigned last year, and in response, the courts passed new rules on weddings in an effort to protect your taxpayer resources and the integrity of small claims courts. Well, those rules went into effect January 1st, but we got a tip at least one judge was not following the rules. After 15 years together, Hosea and Latoya Hunter finally decided to get married. They wanted something small, simple, and cheap, so they headed to their township small claims court.
The church and the big wedding thing, really didn't have the money for it.
The new rules effective January 1st say small claims courts cannot charge for weddings performed on court premises and on court hours. The Call 6 investigators took hidden cameras into all 9 of the Marion County small claims courts.
Looking for some information on getting married?
To see if they were following the new rules.
And is there like fees associated with that? Not anymore. Okay.
8 of the 9 township courts either don't charge or the judges just don't do weddings at all.
That's a fallout of some of the stuff that happened in Center Township.
But one township did try to charge us for a wedding, Warren Township on Indy's east side.
It's an $80 ceremony fee.
We went back again to make sure we heard that right.
So $80 ceremony, $80. Okay. It said cash, money order, credit card.
The Hunters paid that fee. Judge Gerald Graves performed the ceremony.
I thought, $80 was a lot. I thought it would have been maybe a little cheaper.
But they shouldn't be charging at all. The Indiana Association of Wedding Officiants helped pass the rules.
I'm very surprised because especially with how public, everything with Judge Scott was, with your investigation, you would think that judges and their staffs and stuff would know how to follow the rules.
In fact, Judge Graves and other small claims court judges gave their input into the wedding rule-making process. Our initial requests to interview Graves were ignored, so we showed up in court.
We want to talk to you about charging people for weddings. Can you answer a couple questions real quick?
Or not.
Well, you're an elected official, sir. I think it's appropriate that you respond. If somebody's in your court and says, hey, I didn't know the rules, would you find that an appropriate response?
A week later, Graves agreed to sit down with us.
Why were you guys charging for weddings?
Well, I was aware of the rule as proposed, but I was unaware that the rule had been passed.
how did you not know about a rule when you were involved in the process of creating those rules?
It's been a lot of rules changes since 2012.
Judge Graves points out several sources he uses to look up rules had old information on weddings. The Supreme Court website, however, did have the correct information.
You know, some might say it's your duty to know what the rules are.
Yeah, and I admit that that the rule that as proposed and as passed was not being followed. It was inadvertent. It was not intentional.
The money charged went into the township fund, and in response to our findings, Warren Township refunded $400 to couples who wrongly paid for weddings, like the Hunters.
We really needed it, so, you know, it's great. It's surprising and it's wonderful.
And the wedding rules also say if a couple asks about a paid wedding, the court staff cannot recommend any particular officiant. But we found the Wayne Township Court handing out these flyers advertising the judge's weekend wedding business for a $125 fee for outside of court. The judge says they've now stopped handing these flyers out, and he has not performed any weddings.
So, Kara, all very interesting. What did the Hunters do with the money you got back for them?
They say they paid their internet bill, they got a $5 pizza and a movie, and they say they actually spent a few dollars giving it to a homeless person. So $80, it's a lot of money to a lot of people. So we were really happy that we could get that money back for those newlyweds.
Very nice.
Great report. Thank you, Kara.
Now, breaking news from RTV6.
He's a lying, low-down, dirty dog. You know, I just felt like he knew what he was doing.
Now at 11, a breaking Call 6 investigation uncovering cars sold with tampered odometers. Our exclusive findings have led to state police getting involved, and tonight, troopers are taking action to make sure you don't become the next victim.
Our investigation first started as a tip from a concerned viewer about an auto dealership now accused of selling vehicles with odometers that had their miles rolled back.
Call 6 investigator Rafael Sanchez was there today when police raided H&G Auto Sales, and he joins us live with what police found. Rafael.
Todd and Erica, good evening. The Call 6 investigators were able to shut down that business after we received that tip, as you mentioned, that car dealership on the city's south side, after a young lady showed us what was in the trunk of her vehicle. You know, in the trunk of your vehicle, where it's okay to have that one spare tire, where it's okay to have maybe one set of jumper cables, but where it's not okay to have an extra odometer. Were you rolling back the odometers?
No.
Were you cheating customers?
I don't want to talk to you.
I know you don't want to talk to me, but I need to talk to you as to why you were cheating people. Were you cheating customers?
I understand all English. So.
Yo hablo español. Ricardo Gaitan tells investigators he rolled back the odometers on at least 10 vehicles. Low mileage meant that H&G Auto Sales could sell them at a much higher price.
I don't know how long he's been doing this, but I don't want anybody else to feel as horrible as I do.
Hannah Hurt works with seniors and bought a 2004 Acura to get to work. She thought it had 109,000 miles. Hannah reached out to Call 6 Investigates when she found a second odometer in her trunk. What is this?
This is the original Acura odometer that has been replaced from this car.
We confirmed. The original odometer removed from her Acura shows the accurate mileage of her vehicle. It's not 109,000 miles, but well above 222,000 miles, the figure the dealership did not want Hannah to see.
That was a real shocker.
Our findings led to this. The Regional Auto Theft Task Force, involving the State Police Auto Theft Section and Metro Police, raiding the Southside dealership. An initial review of the dealership's paperwork, along with interviews, uncovered the possibility of 20 vehicles sold with rolled back odometers. These 2 vehicles towed away because of questionable mileage. And take a look at this. These 2 odometers apparently ready for installation on 2 F-150 trucks, similar to what the dealership is accused of doing to the Hurt family Acura.
All the people that's working hard, he just sitting back getting fat like a fat cat.
and now the cat is out of the bag. We should point out that this still remains to be a breaking news story. I'm told that by daylight we should get more information as to whether this business on the south side was connected to any others in Marion County or in central Indiana. Did get a chance to speak to the owner tonight. He's based out of Lafayette, Indiana, in Tippecanoe County. In his own words, he says, "I don't know what to tell you." We'll keep calling him to see if we can get more information out of him. We're also working to get more information for you, the customers. This business will be closed for the next several days, maybe several weeks, and that may impact how you pay for your vehicle. That is the latest and live. Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
Tonight, our Call 6 Investigates unit is digging deeper into an I-69 crash that left 2 construction workers dead.
That crash happened last May, but the driver, Jordan Stafford, has yet to face any criminal charges. Call 6 investigator Kara Kenny also uncovered Stafford was caught driving again despite a suspended license.
That's right. Kenneth Dewerson Jr. and Cody Demos were both killed May 9th of last year while they were working on Interstate 69. The driver, Jordan Stafford, was ticketed and fined in the deadly crash. Not only has he not paid those fines, police caught Stafford driving again.
That's Cody. It's like first grade.
For Chana and Dennis Demos,
we have pictures of him all over the house.
Going through photo albums helps them deal with losing their son, Cody.
And it's Cody and his brother, and that's Cody with his sister and his brother.
He was killed May 9th of last year at the age of 24 while doing construction work along Interstate 69.
Nothing's happened. And it's like we get up every day and think, is this going to be the day we get a call?
But no call has come. Indiana State Police continue to investigate the I-69 crash, and the Marion County prosecutor has yet to file criminal charges against the driver, Jordan Stafford, seen here in an old mugshot.
It's upsetting. You know, all you can do is pray that justice will be served.
Records show police ticketed Stafford after the crash. He was fined $687, but we uncovered he has not paid a cent of that and also failed to show up for a driver education course.
It's sickening. It makes us angry.
Stafford's license was suspended July 23, 2014. Just 3 months after the crash that killed Cody, Jordan Stafford was pulled over and ticketed again, this time for speeding in Johnson County, 74 and a 55, and driving on a suspended license. Stafford was fined $208 and has yet to pay that either, and has also failed to show up in court.
On May 9th, our lives changed forever. Hearing that, it makes me feel like May 9th didn't change his life at all.
We tracked down Stafford to get his side of the story.
Well, why were you driving on a suspended license after the crash that killed 2 people?
I actually never got any tickets written and sent to my house. I went to the hospital. They never sent them here.
The records show you haven't paid any of your fines.
No.
Why not?
Because that's me admitting guilt to killing 2 people. That's me saying, yeah, I killed them on purpose. That's me saying, yeah, go ahead and take me to prison for manslaughter. When no, I did not kill those people on purpose.
Stafford says he has not driven since he was last cited in August 2014 and has an attorney fighting the tickets.
All those tickets will get dropped. Everything will get dropped.
Signs posted in construction zones all over Indiana warn a $1,000 fine for speeding, 8 years maximum for reckless driving. But we learned those max penalties are rarely issued, if ever. In fact, many of the drivers who've killed construction workers never served prison time. Tanash Mandazza was convicted of reckless homicide and criminal recklessness in the 2006 death of construction worker Chris Hutt. She got a few years probation. And no criminal charges were ever filed in the 2012 Putnam County death of INDOT worker Stephen Overbay. The prosecutor told me warnings may not have been adequately posted the day of the crash. INDOT points out legal penalties are just one of the consequences if you hit a construction worker.
The real consequence is permanent. You could end your life, you could end the life of a loved one, or end the life of someone else's loved one. You can't take that back.
They want drivers to slow down.
Ultimately, it comes down to it's the right thing to do.
Chana and Dennis Demos have their doubts about the signs and whether the legal system is actually penalizing drivers to the fullest.
The signs are there for a reason. They're supposed to mean something.
The Demoses will continue to wait for a phone call.
I want justice for my son. I know that no matter what happens, at the end of the day, it's not going to bring him back to us. But I just feel like there has to be some kind of answers. I mean, you have to be accountable for your actions.
State police and the BMV both say they mailed Jordan Stafford paperwork on his citations and license suspensions. Now, tonight on the news at 11, you'll hear more from Jordan Stafford on the deadly crash, including why he says he's not the only person to blame and what he wants to say to the victims' families.
And Carrie, you mentioned that many drivers get off with little penalties after killing a construction worker. Has anyone done prison time recently?
Well, we could only find one case in recent years where the driver served a few years in prison. Lindsey Gibson killed worker Brad Arthur back in 2012, and Gibson is still in prison, but she'll likely be out next month.
Tonight's Call 6 Investigates. A Hendricks County mom is sharing her story with your family and a warning about door-to-door meat sales.
Yeah, it seems like a great and convenient way to shop, right? But tonight, multiple people are complaining about the company not honoring their money-back guarantee. Call 6 investigator Kara Kinney has been digging into this and joins us now with what she's found.
You may have seen Midwest Cattle Exchange around town, selling frozen pieces of meat like these out of a truck. Well, consumers we talked with say they were skeptical. That is until the salesperson told them about a money-back guarantee.
T-bones, chopped beef steaks.
Beef. It's what's for dinner. At least that's what Kathy Crum was hoping for when she bought 18 boxes of steaks.
And here's the T-bones.
It's from Midwest Cattle Exchange.
It was very gray. The texture was very rubbery.
Now Kathy's the one with the beef, but she can't get a hold of anyone to get her $500 back.
He told me if you don't like it, it's guaranteed for a year. I'm embarrassed that I fell for it.
But Kathy says the Midwest Cattle Exchange salesman was convincing.
Never in my wildest dreams would I think that I would buy meat out of a truck.
We were able to hear a pitch firsthand when we ran into a different salesperson.
Everything has cut dates and Julia dates, so you know when they were cut and packaged, so you know that the meat is fresh. We vacuum seal them.
The Indiana Attorney General's office filed a lawsuit against Midwest Cattle Exchange in May, outlining 7 consumer complaints from around the state. Customers claim a salesperson told them they were buying prime cut meat, which is the highest quality meat grade by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The lawsuit calls the meat tough, tasteless, even inedible.
Well, there are several consumers in the state of Indiana that think they have a bad product and they have not gotten their money back, and they have been badly served in their opinion, and we'll let a court decide who's correct.
The AG's office accuses Midwest Cattle Exchange of breaking several laws, including the Deceptive Consumer Sales Act.
When you see those items frozen, you cannot tell the quality nearly as well as you can when they're thawed.
We tried the number listed on their brochure, but it was out of service. The company's still in business, loading up boxes, going door to door, selling meat out of freezers in the back of pickup trucks. We tracked down General Manager Ryan Harner.
We've heard from quite a few customers that are unhappy with the products and haven't been able to get their money back. What's going on there?
We've definitely dealt with a few situations that involve some independent contractors that work for us, and there were some, alleged situations of, deceiving sales.
Some people say that this meat isn't even edible.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how that could be the case when everything we carry is USDA certified and stamped.
The number on your brochure doesn't even work.
I believe it does.
We dialed the customer service number, and once again, it was out of service.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Harner says he's updating the company's training procedures and handbook to better educate workers.
So are you going to give people their money back?
Yes, ma'am.
Kathy is hanging on to the meat in the hopes of getting her money back and wants to warn other consumers.
Don't buy it, you'll regret it. It's not quality meat.
The company's general manager says their meat is not prime, it's considered choice beef, and they're educating their salespeople to make sure they represent the product correctly. The USDA tells us they are investigating Midwest Cattle Exchange. I'm Call 6 investigator Kara Kinney.
That's the kind of work that is turning heads as people drive by.
Yeah, our news crew was also intrigued by the sign holder that was promoting a car wash for $5. Rafael Sanchez reports on the sign of the times.
By far the hardest worker we have.
People love her.
She never takes breaks, never calls off.
The sign holder's rotating routine revolves around getting your attention.
And there's a lady right there. Did you see that lady with that blonde hair?
Yeah.
Did you?
Co-workers will tell you she's a model employee, with only 1 week on the job.
So she has made a big difference in the company.
She's probably up for a raise.
My manager likes her because she don't take breaks or complain like we do.
And no bay 2. Clear start bay 2.
The Rama Car Wash and Lube
Start bay 2.
is seeking an edge in a competitive marketplace. And their new team member appears to be good for business
$5 car wash. Good deal.
and workplace morale.
I love her. Love her. I proposed to her 2 days ago and she turned me down.
There's a reason for the rejection. Nothing personal. After all, she's a robot.
Oh my God, I'm shocked. I really thought it's a real person. She looked real, didn't she?
A mechanical marvel bought online and brought to Indy, seeking vehicles in need of suds and shine.
I thought it was a real person.
Oh, she isn't, is she? She looked real. My husband thought she was real. He liked to jump out the car. He's 85 years old, so I'm not worried about that.
Maintaining her public appearance isn't always easy. Fixing her shades and hair are a must during the occasional malfunction.
Every now and then the sign will hit her chin and she just loses her head. UPS guy thought there was a hot chick out there.
So the only employee allowed to show a pierced navel and unlikely to bolt to the competition will continue to stand at her post. There are plenty of signs she's here to stay.
I definitely will come back just because of her. Put in her sign.
We love it. That
that's
through
great.
all of us, too. The mannequins were spotted at a trade show in Las Vegas and have proven to be lucky for indie business.
Good news for winter blues.
May is on the way.
And RTV6 is the only place to see the race. First, we turn up the heat with the Angie's List Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Then rev up to the 99th running of the Indianapolis 500. The drivers, the stories, the greatest spectacle in racing. Join Dave First and the RTV6 sports team with RTV6 driver analyst Tony Kanaan.
Tony Kanaan, Dave First. RTV6, the only place to see the race. This is going to be good.
Friday Football Frenzy. The biggest names in high school football.
And Davis.
Carmen, Center Grove,
are getting ready.
Lawrence Central.
Lawrence North,
North Central.
For Indiana's premier television showcase.
Pike. Lawrence Central.
Now, the Friday Football Frenzy. Nick Game of the Week on HTSN.
The RTV6 Toy Drive is another huge success, thanks to all of our viewers who have donated thousands and thousands of toys.
Bigger and better every year.
It's a Hoosier tradition that grows stronger each year.
Made you a throne.
How about this for a showing?
We are excited for the RTV6 Toy Drive.
Raised over $5,000 to families in need.
Thanks to our sponsors for caring so much. Total Restoration, 1 Hour Heating and Air, U-Store, and FedEx. Happy holidays from all of us with the RTV6 Toy Drive.
1 in 8 Hoosiers goes to bed hungry every night, many of them children. It's a startling number. That's why RTV6 has teamed up with Gleaners Food Bank of Indiana to help. With your generosity, the RTV6 Hope-a-thon for Gleaners has already raised tens of thousands of dollars.
$2,000 to Gleaners.
Money that will go to fight hunger right here in Indiana.
$10,000.
You can still help. Make a donation now at theindychannel.com.
Thanks, Indiana, from all of us at RTV6.
These remarkable Hoosiers have devoted their lives to making Indiana a better place to live for everyone. They don't do this for money or recognition. They do it to help people who need it. Tonight, RTV6 and Citizens Energy Group honor these extraordinary volunteers as recipients of the 2015 Jefferson Awards for Public Service.
RTV6 is celebrating random acts of kindness. We're here just north of downtown in a neighborhood where I grew up, and we want to help some people and buy their groceries today. So let's go. I'm Ashley from Good Morning Indiana, and we're celebrating random acts of kindness. Is it okay if I pay for your groceries today?
Yes, you may.
Yes? Okay. don't worry about that. Put that money away. Make it a good morning, Indiana.
Join Ashley Brown and the Good Morning Indiana team, weekdays from 4:30 to 7 a.m. on RTV6.
For this week's Random Act of Kindness, we wanted to do something special for Memorial Day weekend.
A few years ago, we started the Field of Valor, and this is very significant because it had the Eternal Flame. Over the weekend, probably a total of 2,000 people through the cemetery. I'm very grateful to be here because we're able to do something that really can't be done in this area to the degree that we do it.
Make it a good morning, Indiana. And from all of us at RTV6, have a safe Memorial Day weekend.
Sure, we're anchors, we're reporters and storytellers, but we're more than just our jobs. We are out on the streets, in the stadium and at the track, at the State House, and in the studio, in your neighborhoods and communities. Wherever your stories are, that's where we'll be. This is Indiana. It's our state, and it's our home. That's why it's not all about the news. It's all about you. RTV6, the Indy Channel.